Welcome to this week's edition of Pitstop with me, Jaco van der Merwe. I'm joined by Mark Jones and Charl Bosch. This week, highly anticipated, the Jaecoo J7. Mark, tell us more about what is the Jaecoo. That's a Chery, but it's not a Chery.
No, listen, you guys need to get this right.
Yeah.
You cannot. They call it the C brand. It's the other brand. You can't mention Chery with Jaecoo. So you just got to get that. We'll get slaughtered. So that's out the way. It's their new urban SUV brand, which obviously is a Chery platform globally. So, but that out the way. Listen, there's a lot of bling around it.
Yeah.
There were celebs. They've done all this all cutie people driving around and doing cute things. And we as media sort of got like a slightly later go at it because we're a bit more critical of the technical stuff. So a lot of glitz, a lot of glamour. But I can actually report that it's pretty good. They said they've done some local sort of calibrations in it, and it's made a difference.
Charl, Jaecoo now, is that the last of the Chery brands? This is following Omoda. They had other plans, but that was canned, sort of, not canned, but they had like the Exceed stuff you saw when you were in China with Chery last year.
Yeah, look, they're not going, I mean, with Jaco, it's part of the O&J brand, as Mark said. You're not allowed to, they want to keep that independent from Chery and so on. I think that's going to be the main focus points because the Exceeds, I mean, it's not only restricted to Chery, but a lot of the Chinese car companies, they love to spin different affiliates and brands and so on. And it's something that the boss of, the big boss of Chery, Mr. Yin, is a big fan of, is creating new brands the whole time. So
Confusion.
It is a lot of confusion. There was some of the brands that we saw, they've got a brand called Chery in China, spelled Karry, which is a commercial brand, only making commercial small vans and so on. That is also a Chery brand, and we never knew that. There was another brand called Kuros, which was another one.
Sounds like Oros.
Yeah, it sounds like Oros, but it's spelled Q.
So let's just, for the South African context, you've got Chery, the core brand.
Yes.
We've got the 3 Tigos there, the 4, the 7, the 8. Then we had Omoda.
Yeah, with the C5.
Yes, and now we've got Jaecoo. So in relation to those 3 Cherries, where or how does these 2 fit in? What's supposed to be, what is the Jaecoo supposed to be doing other than the Cherries? And what's the Omoda, you know?
So look, Omoda is seen as a fashion brand, as all about...
or a little spaceship.
Well, futuristic, fashionable people and so on. You have Chery as the mainstream brand. Jaecoo, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can see, fits in somewhere between Omoda and Chery. The Exceed brand you mentioned is a left-hand drive only brand. That's staying in China. There's another electric brand called Xlantix, which is probably never going to come in here. And then you've got another one called Jet Tour, which is their off-road specific, more lifestyle brand, which is also not coming here. So in terms of that, there's a bunch of Jaekoos coming. It's not just J7. We all know there's the J8, which is coming at the end of the year, which is going to be a 6-seat luxury SUV, which is probably going to be the most expensive Chery affiliate owned brand. So as it seems, there's sort of a gap somewhere between Chery and Jaecoo, and then you have Omoda, and then Exceed right at the top.
Okay, Mark, you've spent a bit of time in a few Chery Tigos, now with the Jaecoo. Well, let's not forget your Omoda trip down to Cape Town. Yeah. So you've been in a few of them. How would the drive compare? What exactly did you do on the drive? Look and feel of the car for you?
Yeah, so, with the Cherries, which is the same thing in my opinion, I'm really not sure. As Charles sort of alluding to, I'm not sure. They look different, but they're made kind of the same, and they're sort of in the same pricing, and they sort of do the same thing. And it's this whole Chinese thing. Let's have the same brand, the same car, different brand, different face. It's bizarre. I think if you look at it, you'd make your choice.
Yeah.
But what to me has improved is with the Cherries, that more technical side of things, that calibration of the throttle and the feel of the steering, and it was just very jerky, not good. We complained about it. And every time the poor Chery people heard about it, they got very frustrated. Their motor was not great with that exact same problem. it's kind of like, who cares? Terrible throttle sort of response and calibration. But with this Jaecoo, I got in and I was quite surprised. It really feels so much more linear, so much more smoother. There's not this funny thing with the front wheel drive. You try and accelerate it, wheel spins. It's just so much better. The calibration is so much better. And the one thing, it was substantially better. And I don't know if you'd have to drive it and fill it up tank to tank. But Chery, the brand, has been well known as a motor. The fuel consumption is way over the top. It's Chinese brands, all effects about it. It's 10 liters plus per 100, no matter what you do. We were 8 and below all day, every day in the all-wheel drive J7, and that was quite surprising. We went out to Machali's and came back, so it wasn't a massive drive, but I was like, wow. So I do think either there's some local manipulation, find some chip lying in the car, some sort of uni-chip box or something, but whatever they've done has worked, and they said they were working on it. So for me, from a technical aspect, that's an improvement. Then you've got to choose the looks. But the Jaecoo is a good-looking car, well-spec'd. I think it's a great product, and it's priced really well.
Speaking of price, Charl, where the Jaecoo?
Put me a bit off guard there. It's just
No.
yeah, I've got the 3 trim levels. We drove. I just want to say we drove it at the pre-launch before this launch, and we were still having a bit of issues with throttle calibration and so on. And we did moan about it, and it looks like they've sorted that out now well. So there are 3 trim levels available, and I will say I think Person has got some of the best trim level denominators that you can have. Vortex, which is the base model, and then you've got the Glacier, and then the Inferno, which is the top of the range, all-wheel drive only model. And if I look at my crib sheet here, for 549, so yeah, 550,000 for the Vortex, and then the top of the range Inferno is 680. And then if you want to go really into specifics, 599, 600,000 for the Glacier.
So where do those prices fit into the core Chery stuff? Between the 7 and 8?
They are very much between the 7 and 8. If the top of the range, the recently launched Tigo 8 Pro Max all-wheel drive is 741,000 Rand. So if you look at the pricing there, it is very much in between, like I mentioned, between the 7, between the Chery and so on, and the Omodas. Model-wise, just above, between the Tigo 7 and the Tigo 8.
Mark, do they have a winner on their hands here?
I think, I've got to be honest, I think they did well. I think it's been exceptionally well received on looks. The hype around it's been massive. So they've got that down. They've created the sensation. People love the look of it. They're like, wow. And you get inside it, and it's got that huge
14.8-inch display, and then low.
It's ridiculously.
The smaller ones are 13.2, but it's still huge.
Yeah, it's a massive screen, and it's very minimalistic. Say that after 6 beers. But it works, and it looks good, and if you're shopping in that league, it's really got all the accessories. It's got to work. There are 1 or 2 annoying features with it, but I think they're onto something. I think the guys is going to resonate. It's going to.
When you look in a typical Chinese fashion, the tech of that thing is ridiculous. It's got so much in it, you're going to get confused. You need a degree sometimes to figure out how the hell all these things work. But from that point, and it's got the same engine as the Tigo 7 Pro Max, so that's 145 kilowatts and 290 newton meters of torque. And then you've got all-wheel drive in the Inferno and 200 millimeters of ground clearance. So it won't go hardcore off-roading, but for your everyday little track and so on a gravel road, it'll do fine. We did that whole Lion Park thing at the launch, and it coped actually very well.
That's exactly what they said. They honestly didn't try and pitch it as, hey, guys, this is going to go take on a Hilux in Africa somewhere. Yeah. They didn't overpitch it. They said, this is game road driving over. We went over a couple of little rocks and bumps, big deal. Yeah. It's got big 19-inch wheels, and the ride is very road-based. It's very firm. That's the one sort of, they could have softened that a bit. It's cool. It doesn't need dynamic race car handling, but it's firm. You can feel it on the road, but it's something you'll adapt to. If you're used to a plush car, you might go, this is a bit hard. I think they've overdone that a bit. But that technology you talk about, it's good. What is easier, that big screen, everybody lives on phones these days. Yeah. It actually is just easy. You just scroll down with the thing. That's quite cool, and it's so big. You're not going to miss anything. The one problem is, and it said maybe there's a problem with our car, but it's got a lot of radar kind of in the car thing that looks at you and tells you you're not concentrating and don't look here, and this beeps and that bongs. And we did fiddle and try and switch some of it off in our brief drive, and some went off, some didn't.
It could be that you just weren't concentrating.
Well, probably not. It's my driving partner, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know, you got to watch what he's doing. But it's just something that it was annoying, and we noted it. We're going to get a car and test, and I think you can then have a better look at what you can switch off.
Yeah.
I'm hoping some of that stuff can go off, because it has been a common complaint with the Chery brand that this technology is cool, but it beeps because there's a car next to you, then it beeps because there's a car here, and it beeps because you're not looking where you should be. It really beeps too much. You want to take a hammer to it. But
It's this whole thing about the early Chinese cars, I think, where they were panned exclusively and backlashed for safety.
Yes.
Now they, with all the cars
Overcompensating
completely, now
almost,
they're overcompensating. So to not have that stigma of 0-star NCAP rating and so on, they've gone all in, with the downside that it becomes absolutely infuriating and annoying. They should just have a big button.
Well, that's why, you know, that overcompensation, they got that big screen, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's bigger than some people's TV at home, you know, honestly. So, but it's good. I mean, we joke but that's my criticism of it. I would really get annoyed if I owned that car and I'd really want it switched off. But other than that, I think it's pretty sharp.
Yeah, for the time being, we will hold out till we get one on test and see what we can deactivate, and to see what we can try and force ourselves not to rip out or hit with a hammer or whatever, and maybe then never get another one again. But yeah, body's just started. We will refrain from doing any of those things. If you like this podcast, please go and like it. You can also share it. And then you've got the option of following Citizen's YouTube channel, and you can stay tuned every week. That's all that there was this week from myself, Jaco van der Merwe, Mark Jones, and Charl Bosch. Thanks for listening. Cheers.